All right, folks, welcome back for Primetime Pioneer. Here, let me adjust this a little bit. There we go. Hey, so we are in round 3 of 4. This time in the feature match, we have Caleb Mangrum versus Riley Moore. We're going to knock on the door and let him know that it is time. We caught Riley smacking himself in the forehead real quick, too. Caleb getting a swamp. So another Nexus deck, because Nexus of Fate is pretty good, but this time we're seeing BANT because we have Tameo, or not Tameo, but Teferi version. And there's a better one because guess what? You can't cast Nexus with that Teferi on the field at the end step. As we look at Teferi Time Raveler, each opponent can only cast a spell anytime they can cast a sorcery. Could bounce it and then draw a card. Decides to tick it up and passes the turn back. Blast Zone coming into play. Blast Zone can catch up and take care of little Teferi. Also a Brazen Borrower.
Go ahead. Instant. I'll draw 2 cards. I'll respond. I'll respond. Oh, you're right. I can't do that. Just go ahead.
Oops.
I always forget.
Caleb pointing out the time spiral.
Don't have the mana to go all the way up. And that's good for me. I'll shock into 18.
Shock going to 18. Teferi, hero of Dominaria. So 2 Teferis on the field for Caleb. Bounces the search for Escanta.
6, 7.
And then he gets to untap 2 cards.
Go.
And that's pretty good.
I will put 2 counters on my blast zone. 1.
What put 1 counter?
We just talked about this. I'll put it up to 1, 2 counters. That's what I meant. That's what I was getting at.
So Riley could easily try to bait out a counterspell, still play the Brazen Borrower. He's going to take 2 as well, go down to 18. I'd say Teferi. Probably.
Go ahead. On your instant. Kind of stopped. Yeah, that's fine. Shit that. Draw anyway.
I really like Caleb's deck. It's Esper Control. It's kind of my style. But I also like Riley's deck. 16 as he shocks in.
Tick up to fairy.
Now, if that Teferi gets going, the game's going to end up being in Caleb's realm. He could D-Sphere. Probably going to play D-Sphere. He's debating about it. Looks like we're going to see Supreme Verdict going.
So sure. Yep.
If he taps out to try to play a Teferi, he can't use that ability. He can tap out, get rid of little Teferi, but then big Teferi becomes a problem, as he might have another Teferi in hand.
We would like to blow up last.
So little Teferi's gone. Then he's going to end his turn.
Your instant. Torrential hieroglyphic.
Draw 2 cards on tap. He's going to be able to get in some damage now. All that work to get rid of little Teferi, and here comes another one.
I would like to. That was just. Need extra cards. Let's go. Untap 2 lands. Discard a fish.
It's plenty of lands from Caleb. Yeah, I don't know what Caleb could do here, or Riley. He's going to have to try to bounce the big Teferi. He can try to place big Teferi. No land to play.
With what green? Do you know any of the cards on the bottom of your deck? What's that? Do you know any cards on the bottom of your deck? Yeah, I think I do. I bought them one earlier. So take the bottom card out and shuffle.
Hey, look at that. Caleb knows what to do. No, I'm not going to do a deck tech with Caleb's deck again. Colin. Caleb's deck has not changed. And pay attention during the between games, because I will pull up his deck. You're doing homework. Fable Passage getting an island. I've done a deck tech of Caleb's deck before. He's going down to 8. Untap 2 lands. Pass turn back to Riley. So what's Riley going to be able to do? He's going to try to play big Teferi, and it ain't going to work. You're going to see an absorb. And now an ult with Teferi. Yep, and there's a concession, as Riley can't win that game. Plays 2 out, probably because he has an opt. Now this is going to be interesting as they both start playing. Riley was able to get an extra land drop in, but he's missing a land drop, so it looks like we'll see a search for Escanta and pass back. So small Teferi. Bounce the search.
Go.
Gets an extra draw. Riley way behind now. He does pick up a land. Is it a land that comes into play untapped? If it is, he needs to probably play the search, keep Dovin's vetoes up. Oh no, Dovin's veto's not going to work because he's got to handle Teferi Time Raveler.
Petty theft.
Petty Theft's going to bounce Teferi back to Caleb's hand, and then he can pass the turn back. So that's the way it needs to be done.
Smells like veto.
Caleb's sitting there thinking about it as he says what he's trying to play against. Dovin's veto is a strong card in this matchup.
Go to discard. Go.
Caleb with plenty of lands. That will help Riley get this to a game 3. Just that little stutter step. He can play a land and say go. Now he gets to play the search.
Play Timberguard tap.
I'd probably be willing to risk to take the 2 life.
Flash infusion. Resolves. Go to my turn. Take over.
Notion Thief having flash is such a strong card here.
Go.
And probably is the backbreaker in the deck. Flash, if an opponent would draw a card except for the first turn, they don't, and he gets to draw it. Really good in the mirror.
Instead, cast Red for 2.
Sphinx's Revelation for 2.
My turn? Yeah.
Caleb getting all the extra draw spells now.
Mush. Go.
If Caleb wins, he should be in the finals.
Just have to cast a Wilderness Reformation. So. Go.
I don't know why he just didn't cast Dovin's veto there. That was kind of silly because he had an Nexus of Fate in hand too.
Take it. Go.
All right, Riley. If it depends if they're done or not.
Hero of Dominaria.
Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. I don't think he really is too concerned about it.
Transient target absorb.
Wow. Riley not fighting over anything. This is odd to me. He can flash in the Brazen Borrower, but the Brazen Borrower can't block either of them because it can only block flyers. Fable Passage getting a swamp for Caleb. Not quite sure what's going on with Riley. He's got 2 cards in hand. His opponent has a bunch of cards in hand. So 3, 4, 5. And that's the game as Caleb able to dominate that match there. Wins 2-0 over Riley. You know, I thought Riley had a chance there to let one of his things resolve, but decided not to. I think he was thinking about flashing in the Brazen Borrower, but it wouldn't be able to block. Anyway, folks, we'll be back with the final, so stay tuned. If I can, I'll try to get a bonus match on. We'll see where we're at, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Primetime Pioneer.